attendance to our various matches, and it's a campaign that we've embarked on from the early part of this year to, try as much as possible to encourage the public to go to the stadium to watch our games. And so I want to start with Prof rather and find out from him whether he's also concerned and worried about the lack of attendance or the lack of support for our Ghana League, especially at our various stadia during league matches, Prof.
Thank you very much. Once again, let me extend my greetings and appreciation to, especially your team here, your crew. You have been doing a fantastic job in terms of the sports promotion and development. I think you are really a very key partner.
We are going to do more.
You're a key partner, and I think I must commend you. And
Thank you, Prof.
When I saw the performance of your athletes who attended just ended Savalugu 2020 national cross-country games. I think they took both the male and female the gold all came to Ashanti region. It shows how committed and how probably much you are investing into the development of it. It's not only football. All the others, I'm seeing a lot of growth in them, and I think that we want to commend you. But also, let me also greet some individuals.
Oh yes.
Honorable Simon Semes and the regional minister is listening. Chemaun to me is listening.
Hey, Chemaun,
our own Nana and his traditional leadership. We extend our greetings also to him and Asanteman in general. Fulukrum people are here all listening. For Almost Southwest, Manganso people are also listening to you.
But Prof, I picked up something that you probably be contesting for some parliamentary seats. Is it true?
We are not there yet. But you know that yes.
If you are there, call me. I'll be there to help you.
To be a native of Afano Southwest. And thank God. At least we have been able to give an opportunity to really also develop our own selves and others. And I think it's a high time that we also really have to look at where we came from. The Israelites say that they're going back to the Canaan.
Yes, sure.
Of course, sometimes it's very necessary because you are needed there also to provide also some support for development of your communities. That's where I was born. That was where I grew up. I had been to be at the University as well, and all these enclaves. That's where I grew up, and they all contributed to my upbringing. And I'm grateful, and that's why I think when the call comes,
we'll be talking about that later.
Yes. But today, in particular, I think we will respond to the question that you put before us. But there's a bigger agenda here in Kumasi or in Ashanti.
Prof, so you've thrown my question away.
We'll come to that. And this is the good news that we have received. That the CAF match between Ghana and Angola will be also hosted here in Babayara Sports Stadium. Yesterday I was in the stadium to on behalf of the minister, Honorable Minister for Yusuf, to represent him for some inspection to be carried out within the facility. You realize that recently we put major sporting activities on hold, so that we could give more attention to preparation of the stadium for that big match. You know, CAF match, the standard is very high, and usually not because in terms of infrastructure you don't make the mark for what they require, but I think daily preparation, for example, the shaping up of the page, making sure that your intensity of the floodlight is also to the best mark, and so many other things have to be carried out. So we needed to be sure that we get all these things perfect, as we did for Ghana Nigeria matches. So a lot of work have been carried out.
So where are we now?
Currently, yesterday after the inspection, I was so moved. Because we gave the directive, I think, only some few weeks ago, even I think about a week. But if you look at the kind of work that have been carried out, I must commend my regional director, Mr. Emmanuel Kojoapia. He and his team are doing fantastic. And I think they did it also during the Ghana Nigeria. And that's why I think we had enough confidence also to also be able to come back to him again and say that, well, after Ghana Nigeria, what next? I think we can do so. Cape Coast has been really helping with many of these matches. But this time, we are opening up, especially when the infrastructure development is really widely going on across the country. You know, the renovation works at the Accra Sports Stadium. The one in Babayara now, we have the tartan tracks, about 8 lanes.
And I hear Takrady too, there's no renovation.
A lot of work going on. Then in addition, the multi-purpose course that, AstroTurf that we have, now we've passed the mark 120 in terms of the presidential selection. We started with just 2 in 2017, and now we are counting about 120. It's becoming even one.
What is the target? What is the target?
No, every community should be able to own one.
Every community.
For me, yes. If you look at the plan of the National Sports Authority, even it's expected that schools we have to also acquire some of these. Whether it's the natural or even the artificial turf, it doesn't matter. They must get such quality that they can know. Even schools, because if you go to some countries like Netherlands and all that, even the school can host international
even in Africa here, when you go to Egypt, for instance, hotels are mandated to have pitches.
Pitches, exactly.
Yeah,
but that's the way to go. Because the sports business is booming so well that I think we all have to plug into it and benefit. I mean, you can imagine if you have these kind of champions generated every year, the kind of money that they will contribute to the GDP. Sure. I mean, it's a huge. Yeah. You mentioned the stadium attendance. There's also the business aspect of it. And I think that we all get worried about why we have these fantastic facilities, but then they are underutilized. And that is where we want to go, either by the athletes or by even the spectatorship. But I think the football in particular is what is being discussed widely recently. And but the factors are many. You know, we have gone through a lot of reforms. And of course, crisis also is a way of also bringing on board some opportunities. And I think we saw that the GFA itself has to even be dissolved and reconstituted. Later on, then we were hit by the COVID. Even we played in most of the matches, even during after the ban was lifted by the president for sporting activity to go on. We were playing behind the
closed doors.
You remember that?
Yes, I do.
So I think all these things have a bit of impact on attendance. Now I think it is really recovering a little bit. We have introduced many other reforms to be able to help to be able to get the spectatorship that we used to enjoy some years ago. But we have to also be very careful, circumspect in this kind of comparisons. Some people say, well, yesterday was better than today. What comparisons are you making? Because of these matches that we have various categories. So if you come to the stadium, we have category A match, which is between Accra, Hasselfolk, and maybe Kotoko, or maybe the Senior Black Star and other international assignments. We have also, for example, Accra, Hasselfolk, or the Kotoko playing other smaller team clubs who sometimes have maybe very low followers. And then you have category C. So sometimes you find a match that is going on at the Baba Yara Sports Stadium, Accra Sports Stadium, and then the number is so low, and then you want to say, I was one time in the stadium watching Kotoko, and then this is what is happening.
Prof, the worry here is that
you understand.
These days, whether category A or B or C, the attendance is poor.
No, you have to get the statistics right.
Okay.
No, you have to get the data. Luckily, from 2019 to date, I have all the data. In fact, of course, like I said, that in the era of the COVID, we had even zero.
Yeah, because of the situation.
And then when we were lifting, it was coming gradually. But you see, many things happened during the COVID, and that we should also be expecting. I'm scientists, so you need to look at the factors and how they are impacting. Okay. There was a time that we then wanted Ghanaians to really go virtual or online. And you understand? Digitalization has become also the key now.
I was going to get there because challenges have been raised about the e-ticketing. But I was going to ask from what you observed at Accra Sports Stadium last week Sunday, when Kotoko played against Accra, how did you feel yourself?
No, we can't use that one even for such a serious comparison.
Really?
No, we cannot.
Why?
Because we have done it before. You remember the last year when we played, because that particular match is a President's Cup.
Yes.
Which has become one of the activities marking the independence celebration.
So that's how get plenty people.
No. So the last year we didn't even have any. We had to open the gate for people to come. Have you forgotten so soon?
Yes, and this year too.
And you understand, because people have already mooted the idea that if it is really President's Cup, we shouldn't sell tickets. We should let people come and watch for free.
Because they were taking ticket, their money.
No, of course, it's part of the celebration.
Okay.
And they mooted the idea last year. In fact, we say, oh no, maybe some people want to really watch, so let them buy. And then they didn't. And then eventually we had to open the gates. This year, I think the discussion was that we should even get students, schools, younger ones, to be able to also get acquainted with even the stadium environment. Get to really enjoy.
Before the match.
Yes, but I think that the party didn't agree to it. So we said, no, the House of Folk is going to use their points as part of their league.
Okay.
So there's some aspect of commercialization there. We should let them. And then they price it. But of course, people had an understanding was that still is the President's Cup. The President was there. Yeah. And the cup was really to honor him. And if it is to honor the President, then it means that it's a national activity. So obviously it makes sense to really open it up. So that's why I don't want to use the recent Kotoko match to be any data for comparison.
Okay, so Prof,
but the virtual aspect that I mentioned, you see that during the COVID, they said, we are playing behind closed doors, but people should really participate in the match by watching on TV and by watching online and even on their phones. You remember that? Yeah. As we speak now, in fact, virtual viewership has increased so much. And that is where our revenue generation should start targeting. Elsewhere, whether it's empty or full, people are making lots of money, revenues from the virtual viewership.
Okay.
But Ghana, we haven't explored that. Now people are very comfortable watching their matches from home. All the media, you go there, you carry the matches live for everybody to watch. Those who are listening on the radio and so on and so forth. You see, so from COVID, we were not even allowed to go to the stadium. Now they relax it, but now we have not gotten even used to. The taste for the virtual viewership has really intensified. And that is a way to go. That's one factor. We have to look at it. So we may have a match that is going on, but I tell you, people who are outside there watching, following, are in millions. They may not be comfortable coming in because people have a fear of maybe COVID or infection or something. That's what they have. They have really managed the situation. You understand? Then you go to the business aspect. I mean, now the sports itself is a business. I'm saying that we are all contributing to the business development of sports here. Nowadays, football is business, and everybody knows it. When you have the players even at the division 2, 3, they don't even happen to arrive at the premier, and they are sold. So which player can really last on the pitch for you to continue to be following? The player your best that we wanted really to attract you, to bring you to the stadium, are almost always going out there. So that's why we are looking at it. How can we also probably retain such quality players here? Okay. Then the incentives have to be better.
Yeah.
The salary has to be good. Maybe equivalent, if not the same as maybe for the European
market. For the incentives to be better and the salary is good, we need to get the fans back at the stadium so that they pay at the gates and then they go and watch these matches, because honestly, the attendance to games has been very disappointing and poor. But some of the challenges that the FA president, for instance, has been talking about is about the e-ticketing. Has it come to your notice?
No, it did come. But
how are we rectifying it?
Right now, it has rather enhanced our attendance, or maybe probably even revenue generation. I must be frank with you.
Okay.
The e-ticketing was the first time when it was introduced last year in March. That was the very first time in Ghana that we filled the stadium to that brim, and then it generated 1.4 million Ghana cedis. You all do remember this?
Yes, I do.
And we have seen a number of matches that have been organized in our stadium. Even when we have even relatively lower attendance, the revenue has been very efficient in terms of its collection. All right. So if you're able to really move the two together, encouraging more people, the fans, to get in. But mind you, we were in Qatar. It was good that we qualified. We missed the 2018. We did it in 2022. I think we have to commend all stakeholders, the FA and all the others. But of course, the expectation was so high that Ghanaians weren't satisfied with the outcome. And I think it's obvious. Suddenly they get a little bit disappointed, and because football is a cycle. It's a 4-year, so you really start from the grassroots. You play the premier. Some of the players will join in the senior team. You go for the World Cup. Your performance there will find impact at the local attendance also.
Okay.
And we had that challenge, and definitely gradually we will heal, we will improve. Like for example, the match that is going to happen here, Babayara, which we are expecting all our best players across the globe to be participating, and that's why we are saying that the fans will definitely be drawn by these kind of players also. So gradually we'll grow it better, and improve.
Prof, take some water and let me get to Emmanuel, the regional director for the National Sports Authority. Emmanuel Kojo-Appiah here. Ima, so tell me, how ready are we? How ready is the facility? How ready is the stadium? The last time we spoke, you were still watering the stadium, the pitch. I don't know. It's been up 2 weeks now. I don't know how far you've gone with the watering and the greenery of the pitch for the game. In fact, we have 2 weeks ahead anyway.
Thank you, and good morning to your listeners once again. And just as my boss rightly said, for the...
But your boss has recommended you. I saw you looked swollen-headed. Oh,
thank you. It only puts more pressure on my shoulders.
With
my manager.
Either you maintain or you improve, not to drop.
Yes, we are working hard around that.
All right.
So with the facility itself, I think government has done enough for us. All the changing rooms and the others are okay. Now we are concentrating on the pitch, because that is where all the spectators will come, and then if they come and see a good job there, I think they will be much more satisfied. Yesterday, Director General himself was there from 10 a.m. till 4. We had a series of meetings with the part of the security agencies, and then we also did our own thing there. So now the task ahead is right from here. You know how I do my thing.
Yeah.
I just go and change up and go to the pitch. The workers are there. I'll join them.
Okay.
And then in the afternoon, I know Director General is doing some rounds. He's also going to come around. So the next 4 or 5 days, we should see a massive improvement on the pitch.
On the pitch, okay. Do we still have green grass technology in there?
Yes, he's our consultant.
Oh, okay.
So whatever we do, we get all the consultancy advices from him, and then KNUST Horticulture Department, by the kind
courtesy of Prof. He's a product. Yes. I mean, he's still there.
I'm sure. He's still a professor there.
Yes. So they are always all coming on board to give pieces of advice here and there, and we are working hard on that. Yes.
Okay. And fortunately, the range too is coming down. It started coming down.
Yes. Last 2 weeks or so, we were having water challenges, and we even brought in 1 or 2 water tankers to give us enough water. But we thank God, the rains are certainly.
That should be expensive, eh?
Yes, it's expensive. Yes.
And so if you go through all these and make the stadium ready, how are you paid? How do you get your revenue back? I'm asking this because I remember that after the Ghana-Nigeria game, the National Sports Authority were on the neck of, I think, the ministry for trying to retrieve through my own investigations, trying to retrieve the money that was accrued at the stadium. So how are you guys going around this? I mean, how are you doing this?
For the purpose of today's discussion, I'll concentrate on the pitch.
Oh, okay.
And then my
I can direct this one to the main man himself. Sorry. You know, Prof. Then that's your question, please, if you don't mind.
Yes. You know, this industry can be operated by just a single stakeholder.
Yeah.
It's a multi in terms of our cooperation.
Yeah.
So the ministry, as a supervisor of all the various agencies and directors, of which National Sports Authority is one of them, plays very, very significant role. Usually, when we have a big match like this, everybody makes some pre-financing commitments. And that is very key. National Sports Authority does, and then we can get also some support from the ministry. But of course, it wouldn't be enough, and we expect that probably when you're able to generate revenue in terms of ticket sales or maybe advertisement, then probably that can also be used to offset some of this. The last time I think we played, there were some challenges.
What I heard was that we carried all the money to travel, to use to pay the expenses of the Black Stars to Nigeria, Kim.
Oh, but but the ministry can also be supported by National Sports Authority, and we do support occasionally. All right. So when there is a critical need for some financing, the National Sports Authority also come to the aid of it. Also, it's like it's done everywhere. All right. But the ministry will also not sit down to deprive us of any resources. Like for example, this particular one.
Do you have your due back?
Oh no. Some will be retrieved. But
has it been retrieved?
Some have been retrieved,
but not all.
And obviously not all.
Prof, am I putting into a tight corner?
Obviously not all, but I think that you see, if you play matches, if you have seen our distribution of the revenue, apart from the taxes that you pay, the ministry also has a component in it.
Sure.
I think my minister spoke about it in Parliament recently. And then the NSA has a share, GFA, if it's a premier, GFA has a share, the GACA, the security services. Everybody has a certain percentage in it. All right. But you realize that the last year, in particular, was a very critical year, where we had to really get our players to represent us in Qatar, and of course everybody got financially distressed, and it is not out of place for the ministry also to make use of funds that are meant for us and working out to be able to refund it eventually. And that's why I indicated to you that even signs are very good that already they have started refunding.
It's good and refreshing to hear. But Prof, the last time we played against Nigeria, there were some challenges. Although we made a record, sales at the gates, there were still challenges with people trying to make entry to the facility with their e-ticketing. And I think that has got to do with the telecommunication networks. Are you conferring with them to make sure that this time we have a very perfect situation where people will not come, they're unable to access because maybe they are in a crowd, and so they have to go back home, and then they still have their tickets on their phones, and it was quite a challenge. Although we were able to fill the stadium, there were others who were denied the opportunity because of technology. What are we doing towards that?
I mean, with every reforms, you tend to have some challenges. But of course, that also informs the leadership to be able to immediately respond to them and fix them. I think over the years, over the months that we have had since the first introduction of that e-ticketing system during the Ghana-Nigeria match, there has been a lot of improvements. Now we have all the telecommunication, the MTN, Vodafone, and all that on our side. Said that during match days they boost their activity.
So it's not going to be only one telecommunication network?
No, you can use all networks. For example, if you want to buy the ticket, the star 711 hash, you can buy from every other network. Okay. And they also then contribute to the scanning of these kind of tickets into the. Once you have what is the name? Internet connectivity within the facility, it goes very quick. And occasionally, probably because at the time we had introduced, they didn't know how much demanding some of these their services will be, and I think that probably a little bit of hiccups. But then now it has improved. As we speak now, we are also introducing some reforms in the same system, so that the people can really have advanced tickets purchasing. Okay. And that is something that had not been done, because probably you need to motivate the early bird, those who want to buy the tickets far in advance. Occasionally, you see the Ghana last minute arrangement. Sometimes people really want to walk to the stadium before then they start using their mobile phone to buy the tickets. But these tickets came about as a result of the idea that we want people to be able to buy from their comfort zones.
Oh yeah, it's a good idea.
People buy from different countries. China, you see a lot of, if I look at the dashboard, people from China, USA, Netherlands, and so on, they buy for their families or for themselves traveling down here. So if you are in Ghana, like every other Momo that you can do, you can also do it from every other corner. You don't need to walk in there. Now we are bringing out variations in pricing. Okay. So people who buy the tickets before the match will have discount. Very huge.
And the price ticket should come down. People are
it's going to be very low. It's going to be low. On Monday it's going to be put out. Okay. But it's very low. So those who will be buying the tickets before the match day will have a huge discount. And then on the match day, the price will go up a little bit. Okay. All right. So we are encouraging more people
to take
advantage of this. Mm-hmm. And so once people really buy the tickets in advance and they walk in only with their barcode or their codes generated from the purchase, you just walk in there and enter. Very, very easy. Okay. But the problem comes when they are there buying, and at the same time, we are also using the system for scanning. Yeah. Then it creates a little bit of it. So we want to reduce that. People can do that. Now we are also putting around the stadium vendors. We are encouraging the private sector to get on board, so that they also the vending can also be an opportunity. So if you really don't trust your phone for purchasing, when you get to the stadium, NSA will not sell the tickets, but some other people, like Space to Face, we used to have it. People will be there that you can go and give your money, and then they can buy it for you, and then you can enter comfortably. Shell filling station, the fuel station, we are working with them. Goil in particular, so that people can also go there.
My concern is with the telecommunication network that we can get internet connectivity on the day without hitches.
You have it already. We have communicated to all these companies. I think even a letter has been written to remind them about the 23rd match. Ghana and Angola.
So
to boost their
Ghanaians need not entertain fears when they buy their tickets on their phones when they are coming for the Ghana Angola 2024 Nations Cup qualifier. Okay. All right. So our guest today is Professor Peter Twumasi. He's the Director General of the National Sports Authority. Prof, after the World Cup, I heard you were demanding some $2 million from the monies we accrued from our participation. Has it come?
Oh, no, but I think the basis is very clear to everybody. Every time we generate revenue, the stakeholders have a share in it. Yeah. You understand? For 2018, I think we missed it. And if you look at the past arrangement, NSA had always been remitted with some funds. Sometimes even when we have even not even succeeded, even by entering into some of these global stages, the government pre-finance some of the activities. We have a budget, all right, but then when you are giving some extra assignment, for example, qualifiers, it puts a lot of burden on us. So National Sports Authority last year, you remember, people wanted our pitch to the best, the top notch. They wanted our floodlights to be perfect, everything. But it's money. And you realize we don't generate so much from other the premier, because the premier, we asked them to, for example, to really pay the realistic, but of course they refused. 2019, you remember, I came out with the idea that category A will pay 20,000 fixed and all that. No, they say, oh no, we can't do it. Yeah. All right, okay, so we are all really sacrificing. So now we really got our own selves from our own arrangements to be able to finance. Yeah. That qualifier matches that we did in all our facilities. So now, luckily, we've been able to go to Qatar. Some money has come back. it's obvious.
What has been the response from the request?
No, very positive. We met with the last time we minister convened a meeting between the tripartite meeting, FA, NSA, and the ministry, and then we discussed this particular request.
Did they say you should reduce
that? No, it's a fantastic.
You should reduce that.
When government even has, we can even give more. It's no problem. So minister says it's a fantastic request because after all, we are going to utilize your facilities again. Sure. So if you really need it and invest, not only you are not using it to pay your workers, but you are using it to invest into the facility that you are going to use again for another qualifier.
Prof, so would they pay?
Oh, they'll pay. I'm very certain.
They've assured you that
of course, maybe the quantum may not be released at a go, but in trenches, I'm very certain that the government
you get it
government will ensure that we get that particular.
But has the money hit the account?
Not yet.
Prof, as for this one, if it comes, we should
no,
see
but
how.
NSA,
$2 million is big money.
NSA is working, and that, as I indicated to you, every time you have such a big assignments, every stakeholder has to make contribution to it. FA is glad about it. Everybody is glad about it. But you see, FA doesn't really put any strange burden on the FA. FA, the moment they put together, they assemble a team.
But you see, when the money gets to them, releasing it will become another problem.
No, the money. You see, the state owns the team.
Okay.
The FA facilitates the establishment of teams for, like all the other federations. They establish teams. The moment they establish the team, it becomes the property of Ghana.
Okay.
And that's why we finance everything. So FA's activities and all that is all borne by the ministry, the government through the Ministry of Youth and Sports. And if NSA were to be given enough, of course, it's also our responsibility to give the FA, like all the other federations, money for them to continue to work.
Would you have given them?
Oh yes, of course. If I were to really, now that we are even working so hard for our IGF to be intensified, if a time comes and then NFA is able to make for about $10 million in a year, I think about half of them will go to the federations, all of them.
So, Prof, we just want to, I just want to say that the moment even 100,000 of that 2 million drops, let's know, let the public know that they are making efforts to
yeah, the assurance I want to give you is that the minister has considered this a very rightful request.
Well, others were saying that it was too huge.
Oh, no. You have 10.5 million if you give 2 million for infrastructure improvement.
That's
I think you mentioned the renovation works, the maintenance, and also that's what you need. You do not give the NSC, the Agency of Sport, for policy implementation. How do you get the resource?
That's it.
So give them the money, and that's why the government is not opposed to it. My minister is fully in support of it. Okay. Where the money will come from, whether it is really directly from that part of the money from FIFA or government really remisses from some money, it doesn't matter. What the government is to do is that the last time it was quite challenging for NSA to really get ready for all the CAF matches. Now we will support you. At least we did a good job by qualifying us for 2022, and we're going to help you.
All right, so it's 20 minutes to 9 here on your superstation, Love 99.5 FM. Program is kickoff at 9 a.m. We'll cross over to Joy 99.7 to bring you news file with Samson Ladi, Ayenini, and the rest of the team. Our guest is the Director General of the National Sports Authority, Professor Peter Twumasi, together with the Ashanti Regional Director of the National Sports Authority, that is Emmanuel Kojo Apia. But Ima, so floodlights ready, genset set, or maybe it's too early to be talking about that?
We are ready. Yes.
Everything?
Yes.
Set up?
Just like Ghana, Nigeria, we are ready.
Oh. First place, get even the permit to run that match, Ghana, Nigeria, meant that we were able to meet some of the requirements.
For them to agree.
But then the space of time that was available for them to really get a full inspection to give us a long-term accreditation was what we couldn't secure. Now they have come to us and said that this match is also coming to you. Get all these things fixed. For example, the dressing rooms used to have 22 benches, cabinets. Now they say that after the COVID, a lot of review have been done also at the FIFA CAF level. Increase it to 25. Now we have it 27.
I've been there myself.
Super, very great. I mean, the substitute bench have to be modernized, and you see the kind of substitute bench that we have there. It's one of the best state of the art, and so many improvements. So it was upon that improvements, the outcome of these, that made them to have confidence in it, that then they can do these matches. But the good opportunity is that come this 23rd March, the CAF inspection team will also be visiting together with the match commissioner, and then they will take the data And if they are satisfied with it, then it becomes a long-term approval that we don't need this kind of ad hoc.
But Prof, they'll be satisfied if we're able to complete what the body requested us to do. That's the point I'm making.
Obviously.
Have we done it?
Oh yes, but Prof was even saying even before they give you the go ahead to use the facility, it means that
they are satisfied.
They are satisfied. They are satisfied with what you have in there, even before.
But they still have issues.
Oh yes, but then they'll say that these are minor ones. 1, 2, 3, just sort it out. And
no, you see that you may have it even to the best of what they expect. But if the technical team has not visited you, it cannot be granted.
Okay.
So it's a formality. So this time the technical team will come along. And that's why, if they had come, for example, Ghana Nigeria match to utilize it, it would have been perfect. Yeah. I mean, we didn't. But anyway, every season we have to also reaccredit. Yeah, sure. So now they are coming and they'll take advantage of the data, and that will be the perfect data for us, even the best.
Okay. All right. Your son says he has a question. Why? Is he not your daddy?
Prof was my lecturer.
That's what my son.
So easy.
All my students are my
can't he be your father?
Sons and daughters.
Mr. Atiasi.
Go ahead.
So what I'm going to say is purely from informative point of view. I know that the NSA is really hard pressed for cash, and that is the reason why sometimes your leadership wants to be creative to generate revenue internally to support the works at the NSA. And so the last time that you came for an interview, I think my colleagues muted the idea that we should begin to commercialize some units within the facilities. So, for example, naming right, Javier was even saying that maybe there was a reason we named the Kumasi Sports Stadium after Baba Yara.
Of course.
So, have you begun taking steps to address this particular thing, commercializing the various units of the facility?
Yeah. I think a lot of improvements have been made. I indicated to you that last year the NSA budget approved for goods and services that were released to us was under 300,000 Ghana for the whole year.
Under 300,000 Ghana for the whole year.
That's it.
That's the budget.
And so you realize that if you had done nothing
for all the 10,
if you had done nothing in terms
the
of
10 sporting regions,
16 regions,
the 16 are all.
You're operating.
Okay, I thought it was
after recruitment of the 250. Now you are very active everywhere.
300,000.
Yes, 287,000 Ghana. That was what we released to us. How can you run? Even the one region cannot. Yeah. But of course, it made us also. If you remember, when I came 2019, I look at because KNUST used to have that model, the IGF. Yeah. That's how we used to expand it. Professor Bridanso and all the other people, Ellis, Andam.
So for instance, if I
2019, by the close of 2019, I had increased the IGF to by 300%.
Okay.
2020, the COVID was a problem. Mm-hmm. But then when we recovered, now we're going to about 500. Last time, I think I was in Parliament, if you listen.
Yeah.
And that our IGF had reached about 650% increase over the previous. So it means that the whole NSA activities for last year were run on the IGF.
Internally generated funds.
IGF, purely IGF. And that's why we have expanded our targets also. Now we are targeting about 10 million Ghana cedis generation. All right. So obviously, when you have a challenge, it helps you to be able to also find alternatives and looking at the potential. But as I said, that the constraints that we have at the NSA is the fact that it is not SOE, state-owned enterprise. It is supposed to use taxes and provide services free or almost free for Ghanaians. Okay. So when you are going commercial, it will also have some resistance, and like you saw. But whichever way we are looking at it, naming rights, for example, you can only name when it has been approved. It has to go through the procedure. Yeah. Unless the Director General or the Minister cannot just wake up and say, "I've named this." It has to go. Even President has to approve it, and all these steps have been taken for bigger expansions. All
right. So, Professor Peter Twumasi, before you take leave of us, we know that the Africa Games has been pushed to next year March, of which we'll be hosting. So it means we've got about a year to go. Are we sure we can be ready?
Oh, we can be ready. We can be ready.
Prof.
No, but you see, I was in Morocco.
Okay.
I led the Ghana contingent to Morocco. We brought these medals, lots of achievements, and Morocco built nothing.
Oh.
No, but what we have here, you see, if you look at
they built nothing because they have the facilities there already.
But are we not having it?
Because for instance, Prof, I'm coming. Morocco for some years back, you wanted to host the World Cup in 1986.
You haven't seen or maybe taken a critical look at the transformational leadership in terms of sports. by His Excellency the Nana.
Oh, it's there for us to see. I mean,
what kind of track and field
Prof
discipline cannot be held in Baba Yara Sports Stadium?
Prof,
when we went for
that football, what else do we do?
No.
I mean, there's a hockey pitch.
No. You have 8-lane athletics, which is Olympic standard, and you have the pitch can do all sort of. But when I was in Birmingham, the facility we used for all the other competitions was not up to even Baba Yara. I was there
at Birmingham.
I was there. All right. It was smaller than this, but I was saying that the agreement we had with the AU initially was that we were going to use the 3 cities: Accra, Twumasi, Kukusu. But now the idea changed and said, "Oh, okay, we have them. If you are using this already, we have those facilities there." So, but how can we probably leverage on this? That probably we say, well, it was because of this hosting of that we acquired some new facilities, and that brought the idea of Boteman and the University of Ghana improvement, so that at least they will be added up to. Now I told you.
So can we use Boteman?
Of course, now Boteman or the facilities that they are constructing, they are not building the Olympic Stadium, but they are rather investing in UG. If you go to UG now, you'll be amazed. It's almost done.
So we are going to use
their swimming pool. Boteman will have the swimming pool. They will have some of the disciplines, for example, the multi-purpose courts and so on and so forth. There's a hybrid. They are going to combine all this. But I told you that even at the time that they were approving for Ghana, they knew that what the facilities we had and some of the renovation works and even the facilities that we have added on was enough. Were enough for this. But we want to also acquire, like we did in 2008, AFCON hosting. It was through the AFCON hosting that we were able to build the what's the name?
Sipons. Love FM.
Tamale and so on. So why don't you do that? That's why the president supports this idea that add new ones. So what we are having now, which is being constructed now, we will meet the deadline. Everything will be done.
All right, it's 10 minutes to 9. We'll say a big thank you to Professor Peter Twumasi, but we activate the phone lines. Maybe he'll just listen to one or two maybe contributions from some of the callers before he finally leaves us. But it's always been a pleasure having you in the studios, Prof. We thank you very much for making time with us. 03220-83596, 83597, 03220-83596, 835.